Make sure this.
Oh.
At my house, please call me 3.
It's recording.
Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so excited to be doing this class today. But before we get started and jump into all the goodness, we got to do a little housekeeping. As a reminder, this class will be available on replay tomorrow at michaels.com/classes.
Maurice, Bobby, how are you?
I will also link it in the my stories on Instagram. You guys can follow me on Neatly Planned on Instagram, and I'm Neatly Planned on YouTube. I know you guys will ask that. And hopefully some of you ladies will just type it down in the comments. A way for you to interact. If you have questions for me, drop them in the Q&A, and the moderators will read those questions over to me. And then you guys can always interact with one another in the chat boxes. I know a lot of people have been finding like friends in the chats through these classes. And again, if there's something specific that I don't get to today in the class, feel free to inbox me on Instagram, and I will do my best to answer them at any time. Once we get to the overhead, if you have questions, feel free to ask as I'm going along. And so I love the Big Happy Planner. I feel like a lot of people are intimidated by using a big, but I always say big is best. And it's kind of like my battle planner. So hopefully today I'm going to basically build my home planner in front of you guys, and then walk you through kind of how I plan out using the dashboard layout and how I make it both decorative and function. We'll do a spread, and I'm just going to walk you through how I have this set up for me. And hopefully when you guys leave here, you'll be ready to tackle your home planner and all things big. So let's switch over to overhead, and let's go ahead and jump into it. Oh, as a reminder too, as I'm doing this, Marielle, Mom and a Girl with the Plans, has a class this coming Friday at 12 p.m. and it's all things holiday. It is the new Michaels exclusive Be Happy box, all things Christmas. So definitely you still have time to sign up for that class, just like you did this one. So this is just kind of an overview. This is my beginning of the new planner. This is my Good Habits planner. I just took the forward planning sheets out of it and added it to my home planner because I will be using this as a kind of me and my husband's joint planner. And basically as a home planner, I use this particular page here to plan out both of our schedules. We both have really high stress jobs and crazy busy work schedules. I know some people use this to track birthdays, but for this, him and I actually plan out our travel schedules. So if you have kids and they have events or practices, this would be a great way to track this instead of it filling out your weekly planner. You can use this specifically dedicated to sports or events. So that's the first idea for that. Now, when we get into actually building the planner, I told you guys before, I wanted you to grab 3 or 4 in the sheets. I wanted you to get some recycled monthly dashboard pages. And so basically what I did for these, you're going to have 3 sections basically, and they're going to be home. I have another one that will be, it has my daughter's name, Gianna, but it could be a section for kids. And then there will be an additional section just for like holidays or special events. And so those are my kind of 3 tasks. You can put these, I like to have them at the front of my planner when I'm building. And I'm just going to go ahead and punch them. And basically what I did was I just took some adhesive, and I didn't want this to sound really like doing a lot of cranking and punching on the video. So I went ahead and all I did was I used a full sheet of cardstock, and I just used a glue stick and glued just a solid piece of paper on the back. I went ahead and I took just a color story sheet sticker here and I labeled them. So that's all it is. These are just regular months that I just put a sticker and I labeled them. So that's a way to repurpose old planners, old dividers. Instead of, I know at one point they sewed the Happy Planner, just blank dividers, a set of 5, but I haven't been able to find them in a very long time. So this is just a way for me to repurpose some supplies that I already have. So I'm just punching these in here. Okay, so now that I have my sections, when I start my home planner, of course, holidays, we'll get to that, but I want to go in on starting with my daughter's section of the planner. So I have a 14-month-old, and this could apply to any kid that you have. With her school, and most schools have it, she has a daycare schedule. And so they have her curriculum, they have on days where they'll be going outside. So I punch this, it's a full sheet. That's why I love the big. You can punch it and put it directly into that.
I just started my Michael's Zoom online class. I'll text you after.
Yes.
I'm not for sure what that is, but I do apologize.
So I'm just putting that, I punched it, went ahead and pre-punched it, and I'm putting the calendar in here. So that way I have her daycare calendar on hand. So my husband and I can also map out pickup times and be able to coordinate that. So it's really good. That's why I like the big planner. You don't have to resize anything. You don't have to adjust it. You can punch it right in there. Same way if you have a kid's practice schedule, you can put it directly in that. If you have multiple kids, you can have additional dividers, maybe one for each kid if they have a lot going on. So within her section, I have, of course, her little daycare schedule. I like to also have, so this is a pocket size folder. In this pocket folder, a classic size folder, I like to have directly in her section. And I have this in there for 2 reasons. One, the only thing that I put in this folder are things that are going to have to go back out. So if the daycare needs me to sign, for instance, they have this is an emergency contact form. So I'm putting that in there because I know this has to be signed and taken back to the daycare. And then here they're having a little party. And so the parents have to sign off on what we're going to bring. And so I don't want to punch this because I have to turn it in. So instead of punching it, I just fold it over and I put it into this folder here. Okay, the final piece of things that I like to keep in my daughter's section of my planner, my home planner, are her sizes. And this is very important for me because my daughter is growing out of clothes like crazy. And that way when emails are coming and stores are having sales or promotions, I know what sizes she's in. I also will do a closet update. I do it once a month. I go through her clothes, anything that's, been worn too much or needs to be donated, I get rid of, and I like to try to keep things forward. So I buy ahead, I buy off season to save money. And so we're always sizing up. So currently I have her, what size she's in tops, camis or undershirts, what size she's in socks, pants, and shoes. And this is really important too, because I have family. We don't live close to family. And so if they want to purchase gifts for her or purchase an outfit or something like that, I have her sizes readily available. And I also do this for both me and my husband as well, because sometimes if I'm out and about, I'll have everything. I don't have to guess, or it saves me a phone call. I know what size she's in. I also will keep a running list of, once I go through her closet, I will do a running list of what she's in need of. So currently I have a small list of the current items she needs. And so I have like things on there. I have like, she currently needs for fall long sleeve shirts. She needs a pair of brown boots, and I'll keep that running shopping list right there in front. And I've put it in the order of things that how I would want to open up in variations of size. That way I can kind of see everything when I open it up. Okay, so now that we have that, the next kind of subject would be your home. And in my home section, I keep multiple things. So starting right off, I start with, this is what I call my master shopping list. And I'm going to turn this around so you guys can get a good view at this. Especially with the pandemic going on right now, I don't go to the store a lot. So it's really important for me. And this is just stickers. All of these stickers came out of this essential planning sticker book. And it's just some of the food. It has like the grocery shopping list. So these stickers are just out of that. I thought it would be cute. Of course, if it's something that I'm going to keep in there as planners, we want it to be cute. And then basically I just have categorized my shopping list just like you would normally. So I have my fruits, snacks, meats, veggies, bread, my canned vegetables, dairies, and frozens. And this is like my go-to items. We do order groceries online, so I can see what we're buying constantly. And I like to do this also because I can order my groceries online and I'm not doing impulse buying. I also like to have this master grocery list because then I will also use half sheets when I'm doing my meal planning here, and I will base my meals. So these are just the small mini sheets that I use, and I do them weekly, my meal plans. But it also allows me, when I do my items on the order pickup, it allows me to be able to price how much each meal is. So if I'm making chili, I know chili costs me $23. We're going to talk about that for budgeting too. But it allows me to be able to pinpoint dollar amounts for meals. So I would recommend, if your family, if you have picky eaters, or you just like to keep certain things in your house, to definitely add a master grocery list to your planning. Okay. So then once I fill out my weekly meal plan, I actually take this and put it into my weekly. So I'm going to set that to the side for when we do our actual week plan. Then the next thing that I have on here, this is my master cleaning list. And some of these I pre-made them because Kel did a class where she did a lot of like adulting pages, but just kind of, I wanted to talk a little bit about how I zone clean. And so this, for me, I work full time. I have a husband, I have a toddler, and I don't like to spend my only day that I have cleaning up. When I was growing up, we used to clean up all day on Saturdays, and I don't want to do that anymore. And so what I've done is just assign for every day of the week, I've divided all of the tasks that I would normally do in one day. I've divided them throughout those 7 days. Basically, every other day I'm washing. So on Mondays, I do whites. On Wednesdays, I do our work clothes. On Fridays, I do all of our towels. And then on Sundays, I do my daughter's clothes. Kind of going back to that kids section of the planner, I lay out all of her school clothes on Sundays. And that just helps us to better prepare for the week. So regardless of if we get up early or if we're running behind, all of her school clothes are laid out and we are ahead of schedule. And then basically I just divide our rooms up where I'm not feeling like I'm doing all of one room in a particular day. So on Mondays, I'm doing our master bathroom and I'm putting away clothes. I hate folding clothes. On Tuesday is our trash day. So I sweep and mop our kitchen, cleaning all mirrors. And then on Wednesday, I'm organizing and cleaning my daughter's room. And then I also wash her toys on this day. Of course, she's a toddler, everything goes in her mouth. So I have to kind of, as a reminder, to sanitize everything. And then here on Thursdays in our neighborhood, we have like a curbside pickup where you can get rid of or discard things. And so I try to do like my purging the day before so that if there are things that need to be thrown away or taken out, I can make that curbside pickup and I don't have to pay to have things picked up. And then on Thursday, I also do all of my vacuuming and dusting for our living rooms, and then I clean our guest bathroom. I have house plants. That was kind of my pandemic thing, is having my house plants. So watering my plants once a week. And then I also do my yard work. So I have a garden, so I'll harvest my garden on Friday, and then whatever yard work, whether that be sweep or to water plants, that's what I do. And then Saturdays is just kind of like the fresh, getting ready for the week. And we do all of the linen and cleaning out the refrigerator so that I can do my grocery pickup on Saturday. And then that's it. On Sunday, we're doing clothes. So this is my chore chart. And basically what I've done, I took a bookmark and I just took one of those stickers out of that essential planning and I just put chores on it. So I can pop this right into my week with my chore list. This doesn't change. Of course, you may have additional tasks that you want to do, but having a master cleaning list allows me to be more productive. I know where I'm spending my time and it doesn't change. So again, just like you would spend time planning, having that scheduled cleaning list keeps keeps the house tidy. I also would recommend if you have, kids that can pitch in, even with Gianna, she's 14 months, but, having her, teaching her at a young age to pick up her toys and help be a part of the cleaning process. I'm a firm believer in divide and conquer. So I love doing that. So this is my master cleaning schedule, and I'm just going to move that to our current week that we're going to do. And I just like to look at it kind of like you would your month at a glance. I like having it in front of me. And then I'm also going to put ahead in our week. And I just move this week to week. And I'm going to move our meal planning sheet here. The next thing in my home section of my planner, my home tab, I like to keep what I call my wish list and projects that I'm currently working on. So this is just a big filler paper, and these are just boxes. I printed out a couple of inspiration photos. We are looking to redo our master bedroom. And so when I do tasks, I like to break them down. We're redoing our master bedroom and bath. So this is a shopping list of all the items that will need to be purchased. But before I do any purchasing, I always like to do tasks. So what tasks need to be completed before we jump into this project? So some of those tasks that I have are to shampoo the carpet, purge our closet, empty our nightstands, purge our bookshelf. We have a lot of books. Purge underneath our bathroom sinks, to donate and give away. And I began to list these items. I would highly recommend having a project sheet. Anytime there's anything that you want to do, it allows you to see everything and all the steps that it takes. I think we start projects prematurely, and we don't give ourselves enough time or consider all of the things. Of course, we want to do a redo, but before we can do a redo, we kind of have to deal with all of these tasks before we can get to the fun stuff of redecorating. And so this is my list. I'm going to just kind of buy a few things here and there. Definitely going to take advantage of some of the Black Friday deals. I'm going to get to the holiday list on that. But these are kind of my wish list of things that I want to replace and buy. So I've written them all out. What I like to do too, when I'm doing this, I like to, alongside it, I like to do the pricing of stuff. This is really good too if you set a budget, if you have a budget for a project. But as I'm looking for these things, I'm going to write out the dollar amounts. And so that way I can price shop to see if I can find that same item or something similar for a better price. And then the same way with donate, I like to, if I'm donating those items to Goodwill, I want to always write down what that tax credit that I'll get for that. And then, so that's just any ongoing house projects. And then I guess you can kind of call this your honey-do list or your wish list. This is a wish list of all the projects that I would like to do in our home or around our home that I haven't broken down. So before, our bedroom was on this wish list, and then I just broke it down further. So other projects that I have on our wish list are, I want to paint my entire house. So I would go through all the steps of getting quotes, finding colors, doing inspiration, getting new countertops, a new backsplash, outdoor furniture, a new kitchen table. I want to redo my office. And then I'm looking at updating my daughter's bedroom just with decoration. So with all of those projects, I like to do kind of these master lists. And then I like having on the back where I can also write out dates that things are going to be scheduled or when things will arrive. So I always kind of like to have it two-sided where I can do things on both sides. So I kind of have the inspiration, and then I can follow and track as things are coming in. Okay. So that's our wish list. All right. Other things that I like to have in my planner, and this I like to keep on the home section as well, is an envelope. This is really important as we shop. As I told you guys, I'm shopping for Christmas or shopping for home items. I like to keep an envelope where I can keep receipts. This is really important too. If you need to do exchanges or add additional things in, you have it right there and you can make returns easily and you're not looking all over. My wallet gets really full. So I like to have everything all in one place. So I keep receipts pertaining to particular items. I also have a small one that I'll keep for receipts if I'm doing shopping for my daughter in the kids section. All right. And then, of course, we like to add the little fun things. I like to, when I'm building my planner in the beginning, when I open up my planner, I like to have just pictures of my husband and my daughter, just kind of as little mementos. These are my family, as this one says, my heart. These are just little snap-ins that you can get from Happy Planner. They already have the adhesive on there. You just print your picture. You can print it with an at-home camera, or you can print it, you know, at your local Walgreens or Walmart and just pop it into your picture, into your planner. Okay. And then in that home section, in the holiday section, of course, Christmas is coming up. And so what I like to do as well is keep some of those additional filler papers in there. This is from an old Christmas expansion pack that they had years ago. And this is just for what and where, and then purchased and wrapped. So this way I can keep track of all the things that I'm buying, who they're for, and just keep a running list. Me and my husband like to keep, and I also keep it in my planner as well, a running list of what we call just because gifts. If there's something that he's looking at, or if we're watching a show and he mentions something, I can kind of write it down and keep it in my planner. That way, if you know there's a reason to buy him a gift for celebration, I have something in mind already. Right. And then I like to keep these daily to-do sheets. These are from the monthly expansion pack. And I like to keep them in there regarding like holiday planning. So if I'm planning out a dinner, or if I'm planning out decorations, I can kind of chunk them off in these daily to-dos. And it's not so much for a particular day, but I can write it all out and just kind of follow it as just like a master to-do list pertaining to holiday events. Okay, so now that I have all of that in, that gives us our kind of my major setup for my to-dos. Now, when I go in as far as budgeting, I'm going to walk you guys through how we budget. So my husband and I, we write out all of our bills, and then I only use my month at a glance page for budgeting. Some people like to track birthdays and holidays, but for me, I like to keep just budgeting on this page, especially if you are trying to get into tracking expenses or snowballing. We like to use kind of the Dave Ramsey's budgeting technique, so snowball effect. And so for me, if I have reoccurring bills, I like to give each bill a particular sticker. So daycare is twice a month. I use the same sticker on that. And then for these are in the essential planning. These are your entertainment stickers, and I'll show you in here. Okay, and let's see. Oh, I'm looking in the essential planning. Sorry, it's in the budget. Okay, so these are the budgeting stickers, and they have different subjects. So of course they have kind of like the rainy day fund, credit cards. Let's see. They have electric, home. And then for some people, especially if you're like me and you post on social media, you may not want all of your financials out for everyone to see if you plan on posting it. So if you don't want everyone to know what your mortgage is, you can just write when it's due. And same way with our insurance here. And then little bills, if you don't mind people seeing them, like your gym bill or storage or Netflix. But it's important to see them. We also put in all of our paydays. So I know when to expect income in. And so as bills come in, I will write them. It was a big eye opener for my husband and I. We itemized our bank bill. I know a lot of different banking apps now will do it, where it kind of categorizes where you spend money. And for me, I realized I was spending a lot of money on coffee. And so we got a new coffee maker at home, and I saved a lot of money. So again, I feel like if you lay it all out in front, it allows you to get a better picture. Also, if you want to track just kind of where your money is going, I would also recommend tracking your daily spending. And you can do that right on your month at a glance. Just actually write in what that total amount is at the end of the day. Just get familiar, just like you would opening up your planner, to do it every day, to write in your plans. I would say spend some time at your monthly page writing out your budget. Okay, so now that I've walked you through setting it up, let's jump into the dashboard and how I set up my actual week. Okay, so we're going to talk meal planning and the dashboard. I'm going to actually take this apart and I'm going to show you guys kind of just some after the pins here, because a lot of people feel like the dashboard layout doesn't work for them. They don't feel like you can be as decorative with the dashboard layout, but these are examples of me using a dashboard layout and how it works for me. Does anyone have any questions so far on this setup of what I have in my planner and why? All right, let me pull these pages here.
Nina, the questions are being, there's not, in this format, there's not a Q&A button or Q&A box. So the questions are going on in the chat and a lot of people are answering among themselves. So we're doing pretty good so far.
Okay, awesome. So as always, I will always start with a pre-planning list, just like I would if I was in a vertical or horizontal. But with dashboard, I tend to, and just my personal planning style, I like to lay out my to-dos first, and then I will decorate around those to-dos. Okay, so I'm going to start, and this is where I told you guys you could use either a floral sticker book or a seasonal sticker book for the decorative elements. When I decorate my planners, I have the dashboard that I use for personal, and then I use a vertical for work. And so I like to make them match. And so my vertical this week, I did using kind of these florals, and I'm just going to go in and kind of make them kind of match, and I'm going to just pull a few of the boxes. I always say the thing with doing a dashboard layout is it's about sticker placement. You want to be able to maximize your writing space. And for me, I find that if I place my stickers up top, I don't lose the writing space. For me, I like to write meetings or my focal items in boxes. So whether that be, for example, my Monday, I have a package that's arriving and I want to track that. So that's why this box has a little, it has a little box inside it where I can actually check it. So I'm going to place that there. And as I place my stickers, I like to mark them on my pre-planning list so that I can follow them and then I'll write them in. Okay. And then same thing on Tuesday. And I will alternate. If I place one at the top, then the next one I'll place in the corner on the following box, just so that it also adds some variety to the layout. And then on same thing with my Wednesday, I have multiple events. And so if you have more than 2 things, I would recommend maybe using a bigger box and then just writing the 2 items in there versus trying to place 2 different stickers. And we're just going to mark those as we go. And then I like to focus to my major to-dos, items that might not be week specific. Some people are curious to what they can use this for. So some people like to use this as like a habit tracker for the week. So for like our home, it may be if you are planning to do laundry every day, or if you guys are taking a walk, using this particular box here as a habit tracker works for a lot of people, and it gives you additional space versus writing the same thing every day. If you work out every day, instead of maybe writing it in your individual box, putting it here, or even if you have a kid's class schedule, you can use this as this box here as that daily class schedule. So at a glance, when you open your planner, you know what your kid's schedule is. All right. And we are going to use some of this faux washi. I feel like faux washi is kind of a great way to add color to the dashboard layout, just because you have so much, so very little space to use for decorating that you don't want to put an entire strip of washi. So I like to add a little washi, faux washi to the boxes, just kind of as a decorative element. and it gives you that little pop of color. And I'm just tearing this with my hands, and I'm not pressing anything completely down because I'll go behind it and add the decorative stickers to it. And same way on the boxes on this side here, I have a lot of people that will say, well, these particular things don't pertain to what I'm using this planner for. Just simply you can use a smaller sticker and just cover this up and relabel it to whatever you might want it to be. So for instance, for me, I'm not going to use calls and emails. For here, I will have to organize or purge because we're getting rid of a lot of stuff. We're getting ready to reorganize our garage. And so we're purging a lot of things. So this will be my donate giveaway section of my planner this week. All right. And I'm just laying this final sticker here, and then we'll get into the decorative side and writing in our planner. Right. So here I like to, when I'm pulling the decorative stickers, I like to pull bigger ones because they allow me to, one, I can cut them and I can use 2 pieces. And so I'm not using as many stickers when I'm decorating this, but also it allows me to focus more on the perimeters. So when I lay my stickers, I like to go along the edges. Misplaced my scissors. Oh, here they are. Sorry. Okay, and so right away, I'm going to place this one on the lower box on Sunday. Actually going to put it on the corner here. And I try, when I'm laying the bigger stickers, I try to place them where I'm getting a lot of all of the colors. And then if I have scraps, I will keep them because I will just add them back into the spread to kind of make it grow on the page. So I like to keep my scraps. I don't throw any of my scraps away. All right, and I'm just going to take this one here. I'm just cutting it along the sides here to give that effect as if it's growing off of the page. I like doing contrasting colors, using like the leopard and the pink together. I like to try to pull like the non-dominant colors out. So in this, I'm trying to pull the gray and just using the pops of pink as an accent. Especially with the dashboard layout, I think some people are intimidated with, you know, do I have enough things to write in all of this here? But I think too, you can use it. Of course, you have your shopping list. If there are particular shows that you watch, you can change this up and use it as a gratitude, using this as like a journal section. For some people, if you do faith planning, you can take this and do like your scripture writing for the week. So I think there's a lot of possibilities. If you're not sure exactly all that, you know, exactly what to write in those areas. I think this page intimidates people more than the actual planner side of it. Okay, and I'm going to just take here. And I really like using the dashboard planner specifically for home tasks, just because it allows me to see everything and not feel like I'm missing anything. When I use my vertical planner for work, I feel like I'm so trained to look at it kind of morning, noon, afternoon, morning, midday, afternoon that it's hard for my my brain to look otherwise, to look at my planner another way. And so I think I needed to use a different layout to get a better organization for my overall family work schedule. All right, and we're just pulling that and we're almost done. So the spread, it really doesn't take a lot to really get a lot of decorative elements using the dashboard. And I like using like the big florals. You can use seasonal, so that could be leaves for fall, or here. All right. Okay, and so we're going to go ahead and start writing in our planner since we have that, and then we'll get into the meal planning. And then I'm also going to show you how I use on my busier days, how I use this hourly sheet to kind of track when we have a busier day, when I can't fit everything in one box. I'm going to show you how we use these, this hourly or daily focus. All right, and I'm just cutting this side again, and we will lay our task. All right. I feel like we need a little bit more green on this side just to balance everything. All right. Okay, so now that we have kind of our stickers laid, I'm going to go ahead and write in our task that we have on Monday. And so our order is arriving. I like to track for whatever reason. Sometimes we, our orders will say delivered, but they will arrive after. And so I like to actually check, because if you're like me, you've ordered things and then you thought they were coming and they didn't, and the order was canceled. So I like to actually write when they come in. And then on Tuesday, I'm getting a flu shot. And in my planner, I only highlight time. I share that in my productivity class. I use that in my personal or my home planner as well, only highlighting time. And then I have our mentor call. And then on Friday, we have church. Okay, so let's see. And I just like to go through once I've written them. I like to go in and just highlight that they've actually been written over on my page, so I'm not forgetting anything. And then I have another order arriving, and I just use a line so that I can write a checkbox on it. And this is another online order is coming in. And I just highlight that over here. So those two tasks, and then I will be filming on Wednesday. And so I just like to list out what I'm filming. And the one thing I love about the big Happy Planner is that you can use all size accessories in it. And that was a selling point for me. I've tried a classic, I've tried a mini, and being able to use all the accessories, even like this particular half sheet, you can cut this. I like that the big half sheets, I can cut them and make multiple sheets. So if I just wanted just a small sheet like that, I could use it. Or if I just needed, and I could layer them. And this works really good too when I have overlapping things, whether it be like contacts or a appointment reminder, I can just pop them right in like this. Okay, and so then I have just my schedule of things that I need to do. And so instead of errands or to buy, I'm going to write what those are, or just appointments essentially. So I'm going to take our essential planning book. And I'm also going to grab some habit trackers out of this as well. Like I just passed it. And so I'm also going to pull one of the bill pays. And I like to do this if there's a bill coming up that's not related to a monthly reoccurring bill. So I have a doctor's bill for my daughter that I need to pay, and that's not reoccurring. So I'm just going to put that sticker there. And then also just a reminder on the week, I have it's payday. And then I also like to do, down here, I'm going to do those habit trackers. Like I'm just passing them. No idea. Oh, there they are. Okay. And so I really like these, especially for things like if we are trying to keep up with daily exercise, or 30 minutes of activity a day. I like using it for those. So right now we're doing like a nightly walk. And so I like to kind of track that, trying to be more active and get steps in. And then also we are doing just everyone taking their vitamins. And so just tracking that as a reminder, and physically seeing it, marking it off helps for whatever reason. All right, and then we are also going to change our headers here to our needing to schedule. I think we'll actually make these pink. Yeah, you can just take any sticker. So these are out of that essential planning, and to cover those up. So we don't, we're going to keep errands open, and then we're going to cover emails. Okay, and I'm just going to say here, this will be appointments. And so these are just our yearly exams that I need to schedule. So you can make these headers be whatever. If there's homework that needs to be done, if you want to do your daily chores, rewrite them over here, you can use that for that. These, I really like that you can customize this page to be whatever you need it to be. And we're just writing out all of our to-dos. And then I'm also going to, this is going to be exams. And then I need to, here, not errands, but to order costume. And I also, even when I'm done with writing everything in, I like to keep these to-dos just in case something doesn't get done and I need to rewrite it or add it into the following week. And then we're going to, this will be our zoo day. Zoo passes. Okay, so I have our eye exams, and I'm just going to check those have been written here. You have order her costumes there, and then this is to schedule. Our chiropractor. And then to, once we have that, so that's basically, we have everything. Oh, Friday, we're missing an event. That's why I like to write everything down. And I highlight it as I go so I don't forget things. Okay. So we have our rehearsals, have our other order, and then on Friday we need to, I am ordering pizza for the daycare. Do anyone have any specific questions regarding on laying out your week in the dashboard layout?
Nina, there's a few questions.
Sure.
I'm wondering if you can help with, there's questions, the dashboard word keeps coming up, and, there's been some questions about whether the dashboard is still being made. And I guess because there were less dashboards available this fall, but yes, the dashboard is still being made by the Happy Planner, and there are different versions available. There's the Stay Wild series that's available at Michael's is in the dashboard. The Homebody series is made in the dashboard style. There's a Best Mom Ever classic size that's in dashboard, and there's a Plant Mom series or a Plant Lover series that's made in the dashboard style. So their dashboards are available, and we're not stopping the production of dashboards.
Yeah, there were just less options available this particular release, but that's, yeah, I think it's just, again, vertical and vertical line are kind of I would say vertical is the number one. And then I think dashboard would probably be a close second, and hourly. I mean, not hourly, your horizontal.
Horizontal, right. So there were some questions about, because there's some new planning fans on the site, on the programming today. And so they're trying to determine what's the difference between a vertical and a dashboard, because people are speaking about that. If you have
so I can show you a vertical. So let me pop it open. So this is, and I'll actually show you this is my week. So remember I told you guys I was making the mirror. So this is my current vertical layout that I use for work. So kind of the matching theme, but a vertical is essentially just the 3 boxes, and you can separate them by morning, midday, afternoon, or you can label them, like for some people use them for each child has a different box. Or you could do, one from home, one for work, one for kids. It's just up to you how you want to customize that. Early on in the Happy Planner days, they actually used to say morning, afternoon, evening. So I think my mind is just trained to think of it still like that. But yeah, that's the visual difference between a vertical and a dashboard layout.
That's right. So there were just some new people, Happy Planner people involved. So they were questioning that. And then they're trying to understand the word Frankenplanning.
Frankenplanning. So that's essentially, so I have my dashboard planner in front of my work planner. So it actually goes, so Frankenplanning is essentially just combining 2 planners. So it'd be taking everything that I just built freestanding in my other planner, taking the pages out. Some people take 3 months of a particular planner and put them together. So I keep my home planner in front of my work planner. So this is my work planner back here. And then I keep 2 months of my home planner in all together housed in one place.
Mhm.
So I don't like having them separate. I like to be able to flip them open, especially when planning stuff for work. I can just flip it open and it's right there and I can plan my schedule accordingly.
Mhm. And then we know that some customers might take a wellness planner,
A wellness, faith,
and I guess, and they'll take a faith planner, and then they'll have just a vertical planner where they'll keep up with work, and then they'll be doing a faith devotional planner with a group of friends, and they'll keep that one separate, and they might keep like 2 months of each planner together in the same set of rings, so that if
Right.
they move from one place to the other, they're only carrying one planner, but yet they're carrying around 3 different types of planners.
3 types of planners, correct.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's switching between different layout styles. So at one point I was franking planning. I had a monthly that I was using for social media. I had a personal planner and I had a work planner. And for me, 3 planners was just too much. And I've actually just recently been forced in the last really 2 months, I was using a classic skinny and I kind of got busy and outgrew that. And so I was forced to kind of move to a big, which made sense to me. And so, you kind of just got to figure out what layout works for you. What I will find, and I tell people all the time, especially if you are new to planning, housing them all together will help you to actually use them. I find that when people have them separated, they tend not to use them as frequently. You don't go back to it, you don't reference it.
Right.
So having them housed together, some people will use, like for me, I use just a binder clip, and I'll show you, to separate the two. So if I want to be, I want to flip right to my work planner, it takes me directly there on that week. Some people use, like I have like this chore bookmark. Some people will use just a regular bookmark to pinpoint their week to separate them, or so sometimes they'll have it, it'll say faith on it. You can label it for what planner it is and that it will open to. And so that's another way that you can separate the two. But for me, I like using a binder clip just because I feel like my weeks are a little bit thicker with all of the extra stuff that I have in my planner. And so I like to have it for me, like for work. I will just do, I'll pop it like that. Yeah, and it'll open it directly, and it's thicker. You can get really thick binder clips, but I only keep 6 months of all planners together. So for me, because I only have 2 planners, I keep 2 months of my personal planner and 4 months of my work planner, because I tend to plan out a little bit further with work.
Right. Thank you for that. Now, we did have a customer post in the chat box. What was your inspiration? Because then she commented that you're so neat in your planning style.
So I always joke and say that like my handle neatly plan was birthed out of necessity. I really had gotten to a point in my professional career where it was mandatory. I work in healthcare, and I needed to be able to keep up with everything that I had going on. I'm required to keep a digital calendar for work, but with my job and the nature of my job, I work in organ donation. And so things were moving so quickly that I could have something on my schedule, but if we had cases or things going on, it would require me to change my day. And so I needed to actually be able to write down and keep track of what I was doing. And so Neatly Planned was kind of birthed out of necessity. Like I had to be able to write things down. We always say if it's not documented, it didn't happen in my field. And so I had to write it down. So even if that was like for traveling, for work, I traveled. So I had to track my mileage. I had to track expenses, meals that I covered. I had to keep up with, and that's why I went to a big, I had all these meeting agendas that I would have to go to and write basically documenting or summarizing what the meetings were about. And so it was really important for me to have it all in one place. And so a friend told me about Happy Planner, and I've been hooked ever since.
That's awesome. We have another question about the little plastic envelope that you use to put your receipts in.
Yeah.
You could
So
show that.
Yeah, I'll show you. They come in a variety of sizes. This one in particular is from the
Budget.
Savvy Saver. But they also have these and a variety of like the little square ones. They come in packs of 3. I mean, it's typically with 2 medium size. Let's see. I think I have a pack of them. It's always the one thing that I don't grab. Oh, great. I do have a pack. Okay, and so these are the 3 sizes that they come in. So you get one of the small one, and then you get 2 kind of like medium size envelope size. And they're great. People, if you do memory keeping or planning, people like to print out their photos and then go back, keep them in there until they're ready to like memory plan with them, or scrapbooking. If you keep like embellishments, they're a great way to kind of for planning on the go. Or if you have just like loose stickers, they're really great for that too.
They do come in a longer size, also a long skinny size too.
Yes, that's just that.
Or coupon size. Yeah, that size. Yeah.
So that's just a size comparison if you want to. Yeah, it's taller.
We have them come out at different times of the year. A lot of times we have them come out during the budget, definitely for budgeting, because a lot of people like to use them for receipts. And that
they usually come out with the during the like Happy Planner Girl collections.
Yes.
There'll be like envelopes kind of tying into those collections as well.
Definitely come out with that budgeting set. And then we also have them come out with back to school, because a lot of times in the student planners, they'll want them in there for notes going back and forth to school, or money for the cafeteria and stuff like that. So they have
work. I keep business cards in them. I had a business card holder, but they would get yucky for whatever reason. And so I keep my work business cards. And then when I get cards from other people, I put them in there, and it keeps them nice and neat. And you don't get I wear makeup, so it doesn't get makeup smudges on them.
That's a great idea. Yeah. Putting them in your handbag makes them get dirty. Okay. And then there was a question about fill papers, because people saw the different fill papers that you had.
Yeah.
And, I think it was a bit of it was for some of the people that are newer to the Happy Planner, and there's like you used a lot of different versions of fill papers, and I know we just have a few more minutes left, but if you could just explain why we have the different fill papers, or what the thing is of them.
Filler paper for me is just an extension of my planner. Of course, we do the decorating, but filler paper for me, especially, I use it in my work setting, or on really busy days. If verticals are great, it gives me a lot of writing space, but especially like these particular ones are for hourly. And so like if it's a day I have all day conferences, I can write down my breakout sessions. Or if we are planning a family trip or vacation, I can write out, when we're planning to leave the house and get everything down to the hour. It's also a great way to just add additional layers to your planner. So say it's a week you're really busy and you only have time to do a spread in your work planner, but you need to be able to track your family stuff. You can do this instead of it being a daily sheet. Instead of it being a single day sheet, you can make this into a week sheet. So if your schedule doesn't change, it's a great way to do that. I like all the varieties too, because it keeps, like if I have contacts or in meetings, I'm writing notes. I can just pop it right in there, and I don't have to, then punch it. It's already pre-punched. It's the ease. And it allows you to be able to really customize your planner to fit your personal needs.
And we have different kinds. There's meal planning sheets, and there's project sheets, and there's
wellness. Yeah, these are some of the project sheets here. If you go overhead, I'll show it really quick. This is just like a project sheet. So instead of me making this sheet myself, there's some that are pre-packed, like pre-printed. And so it kind of has the same thing, like your planning step, action steps, due date, and overview subject. And it's front and back. So again, you can make one individually, or you can buy one that's already assembled. Again, creatively, I like kind of just doing it my own. But again, there's packages for faith, there's filler paper for wellness, fitness, just pretty much anything, recipe planning. So even on that kind of that master grocery list, you can do the recipe sheets right on there to do your shopping based on your recipe cards.
Right. Okay, now right before we finish up, I think you should tell everybody your Facebook, Instagram, YouTube handles so that they can follow you. And then I think we'll be hitting our timeline.
Okay, awesome. Well, I am Neatly Planned, all one word, on Instagram, on YouTube, and on Facebook. I would love to connect with you guys. This planner community has literally changed my life. I know we all say it like clichély, that planning can change your life, but for me, really planning has really allowed me to really set some amazing goals and achieve them just by using my planner. So I would encourage you guys not to just decorate, but to open it up and really use it, because it could be super beneficial to you.
Thank you very much, Nina. It's a great class.